Despite government efforts, South Africa is still struggling with rising unemployment. The World Bank has lowered its growth forecast for South Africa, citing a weak economy, labour strife and its exposure to volatile international markets. The bank is proposing some action in areas like financial services, where access to these services needs to be improved. Over 12 million South Africans remain unbanked.
Financial services provide room to diversify risk. So if you're just an individual who doesn't have any relationship to the formal financial sector, no savings, which is the usual product that individuals use first, then if something happens to you, you get sick, or you don't get any more work, you're obviously in a much more difficult situation than if you had a cushion of some sort to rely upon.
While South Africa boasts a fairly sophisticated financial services sector, it has not sufficiently catered for the poorer income groups. High bank charges have prevented many from getting a bank account. Of those who do have a bank account, less than 20% use it more than 3 times a month, which means it's just an instrument for receiving income.
Financial inclusion is one instrument of broadening economic inclusion, and it's an important instrument, as the World Bank research has shown, for not only South Africa but other countries as well, including mobile technology. Is already there in South Africa to a greater extent than it is in other developing countries. That's an advantage, and maybe that advantage is not being utilized to the full extent.
Larger banks are not that conversant with the small enterprise sector. They have experimented in this area. It's not because the large banks have not tried, they just haven't succeeded in their experiments. And that probably means that another kind of institutional structure would be to the benefit of the small enterprise credit environment, if you like.
South Africa's existing infrastructure does have the potential to reach out to large sectors of the population. There have been moves towards mobile and retail banking, which are more cost-effective ways of providing access to poorer and rural communities. According to the World Bank, South Africa has the highest share of adults with a bank account compared to any other African or BRIC country. But this hugely masks the income inequality divide between the rich and the poor, men and women, rural and urban residents in the country. For South Africa to strengthen its economy, it needs to increase the financial empowerment and education of its people. And the first step in financial inclusion is having a bank account. Sumitra, Nydoo, CCTV, Johannesburg.